Hi, the Mudbrooker here. This is going to be sort of a multi-purpose video. First, it gives me the opportunity to try out my fancy new editing software. Second, I'm going to show you some of the projects which have been consuming my time and energy around the house. And third, I'm going to try and update a couple of my previous videos. This past week, I had to replace my breaker box. It wasn't quite the electrician's nightmare that it looks like in this shot. The household wiring is actually pretty straightforward. Most of the clutter you see in the box is a result of control wiring for the time of use controls the electric company has on our water heater and our electric thermal storage unit. As you can see from this picture here, the main breaker had up and perished on me. I did a little calling around, and a new main breaker cost $42. A whole new panel, which includes the main breaker and 5 branch breakers, cost $48. So needless to say, I opted to go with a new panel. The other big project I've been working on is rehabilitating a sewing machine. We had been given this sewing machine years ago, and it's sat in our attic ever since. And it sat in somebody else's attic before it was given to us. But the wife decided that we desperately needed to bring it down and dust it off and do a bunch of mending. Of course, after all those years of sitting in attics, the lubricants and oil in it had petrified, and the mice had chewed all the wiring to shit. So I had to completely disassemble it, clean all the moving parts, reassemble, readjust, relubricate, and rewire all the electrics. But now that I have all that done, it's working pretty good. So is at least as good as it did back in 1951. Okay, now to update a couple of things. Ragnar and his new friend the stray cat are getting along pretty good. They've become fast friends. And the wife has decided that the cat should be named Pansy. The second video I would like to update you on as best I can concerns the effort to recall Governor Scott Walker, a wholly owned subsidiary of Koch Industries. In order to trigger a recall election, approximately 540,000 signatures must be collected and certified. As of the 15th of December, 507,000 have been collected, and the deadline for turning in the signatures to begin the certification project is the 17th of January. The goal is to collect 750,000 signatures because the Republican Party will, of course, fight tooth and nail to have as many signatures thrown out as possible. Since the day before the recall petitions began to circulate, Governor Walker, a wholly owned subsidiary of Koch Industries, and his corporate masters have been spending millions of dollars on a full-out advertising blitz to try and make him look as good as possible. On the 28th of December, our beloved leader called a press conference where he announced that he had decided to lift the cap on enrollment in the Wisconsin Family Care Program. The Family Care Program is aimed at keeping senior citizens in their homes and providing health care for them there rather than providing much more expensive health care in nursing homes. So far, it's been quite a successful and popular program, but there is a waiting list of over 6,000 people who are otherwise entitled but could not be enrolled in the program. The governor would have looked a lot better when he announced that he was lifting the cap were it not for the fact that A, the cap was his idea in the first place. He and the Republican-controlled legislature passed the cap back in July. And B, he had in fact been ordered by the federal government to remove the cap. You see, the Family Care Program gets about 60 to 70% of its funds from the federal government, which means that the state of Wisconsin has absolutely no right to deny services to people who are otherwise entitled. Way to go, Scott. Along with the petitions to recall Governor Walker, there are also petitions circulating to recall the Republican senators who are now eligible to be recalled. If the Republicans do like they did in the last recall elections, they will enter several fake Democratic candidates in order to force a primary election and drag the process out as long as possible. If they do that, I'm giving serious consideration to running as a fake Republican. I've already decided on a campaign slogan: give me the job so I can afford to get my teeth fixed. My one big campaign promise will be to introduce legislation, if elected, that would tie the rate of pay for state legislators to the median average income of citizens of the state of Wisconsin. If the legislature wants a raise, they got to make sure everybody else gets one first.